Hey guys, welcome to the second episode of Speak Audibly's 100% Me podcast. It's your host, Mike Wilson, and today we have the awesome pleasure to meet and speak with Perris Beal of Intuitive Tutors. For those of you guys who are parents who say, you know what, I just became a school teacher, a homeschool teacher, this episode is for you. Perris gives us so many great tips and resources to help us be able to teach our students, our kids, that much better. So without any further delay, let's jump right in. Hey guys, welcome to SpeakAudibly.com. My name is Mike Beal, and I'm here with my son. We're playing at the dog park here. It's amazing. All right, guys, welcome to the podcast. I'm on here with Perris Beal of Intuitive Tutors. She also happens to be my little sister who I love so much. Perris, how are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
I am. It's a beautiful day. Besides the fact that we're in quarantine, but
Great.
Before we get to that, though, just tell the audience, tell my listeners who you are and what you do.
Hi, so I am Perris. I have been tutoring for different companies and now my own for a total of about 16 years, going on 17 years. We started Intuitive Tutors, myself and my mother started Intuitive Tutors in August of 2015. And basically, I was tutoring for other companies and I saw a place in which I could help a little bit more. Being a tutor for so long, there were certain things and rules and regulations in place that were unnecessary and weren't allowing me to get the fulfillment that I thought I could get from tutoring. So I decided to, start my own company. We've been going strong since August of 2015, doing in-person and online sessions. With quarantine, of course, we are strictly online now, but our tutors utilize an awesome platform, Zoom, to work with students. It allows us to interact with our students. We have students as young as 3 years old and older than 60, all taking advantage of the online platform. We can share homework back and forth. We can share textbooks online back and forth. Some of our students prefer to print homework and then send us pictures back. It's perfectly fine. It allows us we can upload it as the tutors. We can draw on the screen. We can solve math problems. We can play games with the kids. We can read books online. It has really allowed us to really get a grasp on and taking control of what we want to do when it comes to utilizing all the available educational resources.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I was going to ask you, when it comes to coronavirus, did all that ramp up because now we are all having to sit at home?
Yeah. So originally it ramped up about 2 years ago when my husband and I decided to start our family. I also then needed to be at home more due to my particular kind of pregnancy that I was having, but still wanted to stay busy, keep working. So we really ramped up the online sessions. We hired additional tutors. So we hire tutors as contractors, as independent contractors. And that part really ramped up. And now that we are experiencing this quarantine situation, it actually has increased, I'd say, about twofold within the last 3 weeks.
Wow. No, that's awesome, because you guys have already kind of had that foundation of the online and the platform's already been there. So that's greatness. So speaking of coronavirus and quarantining, we're supposed to be sitting at home. I know here in Fort Worth, not everybody's abiding by that rules. You're based in Houston. Is everyone kind of out and about still, or are they pretty much locked in as well?
It's a mix.
Okay.
I only know because I've had to go out for a few things myself. In the south part of Houston, a little bit, about 20 minutes south of Houston where we are, people are not taking it as serious because we don't seem to have had such a huge number just yet in our particular area. But we're only 20 minutes south of Houston. In which they've had an increase in cases pretty serious over this last week. So Houston itself is taking it a lot more serious. The particular area that we're in, they're a little late to catch up. I went grocery shopping yesterday, had my mask on, and people looked at me as if I was an alien.
Right.
And so they're not quite taking it as serious, but I did see one or two other shoppers with masks as well. So
Yeah,
hopefully.
that's what I'm finding as well here. Whenever we go out for essentials, I'm thinking to myself, there are a lot of people out here. Not all of you guys in the middle of the day have an essential job that you're going to at 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Exactly.
And I'm in Target, and there's people everywhere, and they're buying TVs, and they're just kind of hanging out. Like, nothing else is open. Let's just go and just hang out. And I'm like, people, we're either finding that they are fearful and way over here on this extreme and not doing anything, or they're all the way on the other extreme of being almost careless. And so I'm just trying to urge people, continue, like, find that middle ground. Don't be fearful. I mean, we weren't given a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and of sound mind. So don't be fearful, but come on, be smart. Be smart. Let's try to slow this thing down. So since we are all at home, and I myself, I'm with my wife, who happens to be a preschool teacher, but I've heard from some other parents, like, I'm not a teacher, Mike. I don't know what this looks like. I'm at home with my kid all day now. I don't know how to keep him or her focused. Do you have any tips, being that you guys are a tutor, you own a tutoring company? Do you have any tips for those parents?
Yes. So I'll actually share my slides with you.
Perfect.
Right. Going full view. Okay. So this is where we can be reached as far as our website. It is intuitivetutors.org. And then our phone number, 832-305-6273. You can call or text. We try to be readily available within business hours, which is Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Okay.
So these are our kind of essential tips for homeschool. The one thing that I would say, and I put it as number 4, but it should have actually been number 1, make it fun, okay? This is for every parent who's ever thought, man, I really wish that the school would do this, or I wish the school would teach this, or man, what happened to home ec? What happened to, some schools don't have drill team anymore, different things like that. This is where you get to take advantage of that. So make this experience fun. Take full advantage of spending that extra time with your child, getting to know a little bit more about their personality. So yes, just make this fun. So I'll go back to the top now. First thing I would say, as far as important tips, you should talk with your child and see what they're thinking about the situation. See what they're thinking about coronavirus. See what they're thinking about transitioning from traditional school to homeschooling. See if they're excited about it. If they have reservations about it, do they have fears? Are they uncomfortable with anything? Giving them that outlet could be the thing that helps you all connect on a level in which you can say, okay, great, my child is super excited about it, so I can let them be a little more independent, versus, wow, my child actually has anxiety about the situation just like I do. Let's do this together. So I would say having that conversation with your child is first and foremost, and it can be the thing that enhances this for both the child and the parent. And in that, you really can make this your own. I know some schools are doing assignments and things like that, but if you find yourself still having a lot of time where your child's not completing any work and they're just kind of watching TV, lounging around, that's when you can come in and come up with some things that some of our middle and high school parents have mentioned over the years and would be something great for parents to implement now. How to teach your child how to do sales taxes. Teaching your child what the difference is between a checking and a savings account. One fun thing might also be teaching your child about the stock market. Okay, so there's several apps out there where you can invest a few pennies, literally, and purchase your child a share of stock. Let them research a company. You research a company. You guys come together and you decide, we're going to purchase $5 worth of a particular stock. That's something that you can really help your children engage in. And then you can download the app on the parent's phone. And that way you can monitor it, but they can look at it every day and they can see, what news is going on with the company that they purchase share in, or the companies that they're watching and thinking about purchasing share in. This is really a way to increase their life skills, which we all know is something that has kind of been slightly removed from the traditional educational system, because our traditional system has moved more to testing and standardized testing. We have lost some of those life skills. And so this is a really good time for you to enhance learning when it comes to those life skills. Also, make a schedule. I would say if you have literally from preschool to high school children, you should still make a schedule. That way, you as the parent are setting the expectation for when work will be completed. And you can work with your child. If they want to sleep in, that's all right. And then they get up, they do their routine, and they get to work at this time, and they work until a certain time. That's perfectly fine. If your child is an early morning child, that's perfectly fine too. Have them start their routine nice and early, have their time where they sit down, they work, and then they, get some free time or what have you. But once you talk to your child, you should get a better understanding of whether they need an early schedule or a little bit later in the day schedule. And then you as the parent can identify what time you feel they need to start and stop and, breaks and things like that. I would encourage breaks every 30 to 50 minutes, depending on if they are elementary to high school. Also, not so much if they need a break at 30 minutes. It should be a welcomed break, a structured break. So maybe step out on the porch, get some water, get a snack, some juice. If it needs to be timed to help get in the flow, I'm all for timing breaks, and then they get back to work. And so it doesn't have to be so structured that the parent, the parent, are stressed out that, wait a minute, they went 5 minutes over their break. But it should be structured enough that they realize that, they have responsibility for their time.
Right. This isn't vacation.
Yes, it's not vacation. We will have a long enough summer for them to do absolutely nothing if that's how you want it for your child. But this is still school time.
That's awesome.
And then I would say find a support system. There are plenty of groups out there on Facebook and all sorts of different platforms that way. There's also specific homeschool groups. So now everyone is considered homeschooling. Right. So there really are several kind of chat groups and different things like that. As well as there are outside services. So such as ours, Intuitive Tutors. We tutor online. So we offer an additional support and backup to what your child's getting from their school, what your child's getting from you. Sometimes you're tired, and sometimes your child and you are not connecting in a way on a particular topic that they're understanding it. Now, that is not to put blame on the parent or the child, but sometimes having an outside resource such as an online tutor can put some ease into the situation so that nothing becomes stressful and overwhelming, because you guys have to live together literally on top of one another in quarantine for the next 3 to 4 weeks minimum.
Right.
So if an outside tutor can help explain the topic, maybe explain it in a new way in which the child can understand it, maybe some different graphics that the parent doesn't have access to, then we just say the more the merrier. That additional support can really also be a break for the parents, so that they don't have to take it on all themselves. There are resources out there. And then Intuitive Tutors offers several outside resources as a part of our service.
No, that's
and
awesome.
Again, just make it fun.
Make it fun. I think that's key. One of the things that you mentioned up at number 1, work with your child to make adjustments, was the connection. I think that's huge. Making that connection with your child. It starts there. Making that connection. I seen a meme the other day that kind of made me laugh, being that we're all homeschool parents now. They said, I'm trying to think of exactly how they said it because it was hilarious. I think it said, we now in schools have brought back spanking and praying because we're all homeschool teachers now. So,
Right.
but it all comes down to that connection and having fun. That's awesome. So you mentioned a couple resources, including Speak Audiblies and Intuitive Tutors. Sorry. What kind of free resources or paid resources do you know that you can kind of give to our audience today?
Yes. So here are some free and paid resources. So we'll start with the free. So here's a few websites that have always been free, and they will offer help from grades pre-K through high school. So Khan Academy in particular, you can go on there, you can create a profile as the parent or the student. And it's a great resource for online video tutorials. Lots of them are also on YouTube, but Khan Academy, you can create an account, and so you can even see what your child's doing. They have practice questions, quizzes, and practice tests. And so that can be utilized for all subjects. K5 Learning is another website where you can get printable worksheets. And so you can go on. It's mostly for elementary and middle school, but they also have like geometry topics and algebra 1, algebra 2, those sorts of things, worksheets available. So they have a free worksheets portion, but they also, you can be a part of their paid subscription to have access to additional material and some videos as well.
Okay.
And then when it comes to math, so Math is Fun is an amazing website. We use it with Intuitive Tutors all the time. It's interactive. It gives a really crisp explanation of whatever particular math topic you're looking at. They also have a small 5 to 10 question quiz at the bottom of each page. And then the examples are put on in a way that it's different from a textbook. Textbooks have so many words sometimes that it can be overwhelming. Math is Fun has stripped down the words. They have stripped down to essential examples. They even go as far on most topics to give you an example of that exception that there is always to the rule. And so the student really can immerse themselves in what the topic is, what are some common examples, what are some exceptions to those particular examples, and then they can go down and quiz themselves. Awesome. Reading, readworks.org is an awesome website. Again, you can set a parent profile. A lot of schools actually use ReadWorks as well. You can set a parent profile or a student profile. If you set a parent profile, then you can assign your child particular homework and things like that. And you can grade it, and you can actually grade them and see how they do from there. ReadWorks allows, it's basically articles. There's thousands of articles on there on any sort of topic. So there's a filter section, so you can pick the grade level, you can pick the types of articles, whether they read about health and science, or if they read about art or culture. You get to pick all of that. And then there's additional resources. If you have a younger child and you want the article read to them, you can actually, there's a read out loud option that you can put on there. And then for our older children, there's also things like, not only do they read the article, but it can introduce them to specific vocabulary words. So there's a vocabulary builder as well. And each vocabulary word will actually have its own page. It gives the definition. Sometimes it also gives the word in Spanish. It gives several sentences for examples of how to use the word. And then when they go to answer the reading comprehension questions, they can also have vocabulary questions, so specific to just the vocabulary words that they've learned.
Wow.
So it offers a plethora. And there's also a library that you can allow your child access to, and they can go pick their own articles that they want to read about.
Awesome. And for those of you guys who are listening to this, all of these links will be in the show notes. So regardless of where you're listening to it at, you can go into the show notes, you'll see these links. So those are the free. What are some of the paid resources that you know of?
So two of the paid resources that I like the most. So IXL.com, it's technically geared towards the state of Texas, but it covers such an array of topics that I have used it for students that I've had in Michigan, Florida, Illinois, California, across the board. And it has helped them enhance their learning. So the fact that it's a Texas website doesn't mean anything. It can be utilized. Now, this is a paid website. And so with that, there's an assessment that your child can take at the very beginning. So that the information that is then recommended for them to complete, it will be based on their results for their assessment. So that's an added benefit for that. You can also then track their grade and how they're doing in each individual subject over time. The thing that I like about that is it also offers foreign language. So if your child was learning Spanish or French or German, you can also have them continue working on that at home. And then Adventure Academy, it's basically this idea that they're literally going on an adventure as they're completing work.
Nice.
And so a lot of kids seem to really love it. They're able to do so many things on this website. And so that's a new one that a lot of parents have been asking about, and some schools have even started to use this year. So that's a pretty good resource as well. And one that I don't have on here, but it's actually, I guess, two. They're for math. One is called Prodigy. Okay. It is also paid. A lot of the schools have started using it in the last 2 to 3 years. So your child may already have a free login through their public school or private school.
Okay.
So I would say reach out to teachers and ask them, do they use any of these paid services? And if they do, then the teacher should be able to share your student's username and password with you, and then you can utilize it from home. And then the other one is Minecraft. A lot of my kids love that one as well. So yeah,
is that Minecraft like the game, or is it Mindcraft or?
Mindcraft.
Okay. I'll say, yeah, I'm sure my son would love for me to say, hey, today we're working on Minecraft.
Yes, Mindcraft. So awesome. It's similar to the Adventure Academy, where they kind of go on adventures as they answer questions. They get to shop for, trinkets, and they can dress I think that's the one, they can actually dress their characters. They can purchase homes, and depending on what levels they're on, they can do all sorts of things, depending on how far they make it in levels. My students particularly like to purchase swords and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, very cool. That's awesome. Now, when it comes to intuitive tutors, what are some resources that you guys have that you can share? Or, if there is a service that you have right here, right now, that you're saying, you know what, I can share this with you guys right now, what would that be?
Yeah. So what we're offering as a free resource, we do understand that not everyone can afford it in this particular time. Lots of people are being laid off or losing their jobs in different manners. And so we want to be aware of that, and we want to be sensitive to that. So we have said that anyone can go on our business Facebook page and post a topic. You can then you can share that post with friends and family and get other people to like it or comment. Now, the posts at the end of the week that have the most comments or likes, we will actually produce tutorial videos over the weekend. And so it can be, for example, if your child is struggling with dividing fractions, you just put a post for us that, 4th or 5th graders struggling with dividing fractions, we need a tutorial. And then the more likes and comments that video gets, whichever 3 or 4 have the most, we'll go ahead and do some tutorial videos. And then we'll also put in links for additional videos that you can maybe find on YouTube. And then you can go from there as well and utilize some of those free resources like K5 Learning. You can find fraction worksheets on there and different things like that. So we'll also try and point those things out within the video, some of the other free resources that you can utilize for that particular topic.
That's awesome. Now, I love some free stuff myself, but I know you guys have some paid services as well, right? What kind of paid services do you guys have right now?
Yes. So generally, we have our set prices for our traditional students. Those students are the ones that attend school outside of the home usually. And then we have a homeschool student price. Right now, for all new clients, whether homeschool or general, we are offering discounts on both of those services. So if your child was in traditional schooling before quarantine happened, we are still considering them a traditional student. We are not considering them a homeschool student. If your child was homeschooled before quarantine, that they then remain a homeschool student. And so as far as we're concerned, our prices are typically affordable. That is what we really pride ourselves on, but we still are going ahead and offering an additional discount here. And so for our traditional students, so if you're in quarantine and you're technically homeschooled now, but you originally went to school outside of the home, your rate is $25 per hour. So we're offering a $5 discount there. If you were homeschooled before quarantine and are still in homeschool, your rate is $30 per hour. We also offer a homework packet. So this will include 4 to 8 pages of material. You can do a range of subjects, or you can pick one subject, and then we'll also grade the material. So if we have a file that we already have answers printed up for, we'll just send that. If it's something that we don't have explicit answers to already, then we ask that the parent either text or email pictures back, and then we will grade it and get our feedback back to the parent and the student. And that we've also done our $5 discount, offering just $25 a week for one packet.
Okay. So roughly it's about an hour per session. And I'm sure you guys, so is it for when it comes to the parents, they can determine how many hours then for that week that they need? Is that how that works?
Yes. And so we do let the parents set the amount of hours. You can, it depends on the age range. So if you have a pre-K student, we actually offer 15-minute and half-hour increments.
Okay.
We prefer to start with a half hour, and then we will gauge, we let the tutor gauge whether or not the half hour is sufficient, or if it's too much, then we will allow that pre-K student to do 15 minutes. If they do 15 minutes, they do need to do a minimum of 2 sessions a week.
Okay.
And that's to make it reasonable for the tutor as well. And then we can do as many hours. We have students that do 10 and 15 hours a week. Also, we offer hour time slots, but if the parent wants the session to be a 2-hour slot, that's completely fine. It's still $25 per hour, and the session, we would only take one 5-minute increment at the end of the session. So the first session would be a full hour. The second session would be 55 minutes.
Gotcha. No, that's awesome. It's awesome. And so I hear that through high school. What do you guys have for college age individuals who are looking for that tutoring?
Yes. So for college students, we offer several core subjects. Anything from biology, physics, chemistry, biochemistry, to art history and college algebra, all of those sorts of things, theology. And so we have tons of subjects that we're able to help with. For the college students, they get to really make it their own. So they let us know what they're anticipating that they will need in time, as far as how many hours a week. Awesome. And then we work with them to find a tutor that meets their needs and can help them with those particular topics. And then the college students are kind of off to go from there.
Awesome. Well, this has been amazing insight, especially as a parent myself with a 5 and an almost 2-year-old. That's really helpful. So Perris, when it comes to you and Intuitive Tutors, what is the best contact? How can our listeners get in touch with you? I know we are kind of a social media day and age and generation, so how can we best contact Intuitive Tutors?
Yes, and I will make one other note. This flyer says that this discount is only offered through March 29th, but we have extended that. We will be extending that all the way through the end of the school year, likely. If the students go back to school, then we will go back to our regular prices, but we're not anticipating that that's probably going to happen, at least not through April.
Sure.
And so we will actually be extending this the school out discount through whatever quarantine ends. And then, so the best way to reach us, we have our website, intuitivetutors.org. You can find our resources on there. You can find our tutoring contracts. You can also email us specific questions from the website. Our Facebook page is another awesome resource to reach us as well. You can instant message us on Facebook. We will respond to all messages within 24 business hours, and that's Monday through Friday again. And then our phone number, we're accessible for call or text at 832-305-6273.
Awesome. And all of this will be linked into the show notes. So if you guys are sitting at home and you're listening to this or you're watching this somewhere, we have your back. Go into the show notes, click any of those links. You will get to exactly what Perris has addressed today. Perris, thank you so much for just everything that you guys do and the value that you give for parents and pairing up for success for the parent and the child. I have one other question that I kind of throw out to any guests that I have. So in the early 2000s, the first Batman, The Dark Knight, came out. And at the end of that movie, it shows Batman. He's taking on the kind of guilt and the burden of everything that's happened in the movie. And so they show him just running. He's running from dogs. He's running from cops, and he's going into hiding. He's going off the grid. If you were to be going off the grid today and you had one nugget of knowledge or encouragement to people, you had one last thing, what would that knowledge or that encouragement be?
I think the best thing that we can all do for each other is prop one another up, and don't forget that just because it's a crazy time, that we have to be crazy as well. We still should stick to our values, stick to our core beliefs, and that includes being there for one another. Don't pinch yourself off and start being stingy in a way just because it's a crazy time. Continue and keep your same character, keep your values, keep your morals. Because in the end, those people that you reach out to, that you help, that you're there for in this time, they're going to have your back, period.
That's awesome. That's greatness. So in essence, be 100% who you were made to be.
Yes.
I resonate with that 100%. For those of you guys who don't know, my book, 100% Me, mentally is out currently and physically is coming out soon. Little shameless plug, but you can definitely tell this is my sister. We come from the same thought process and wavelength. Perris, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much again for the value that you're giving families. And guys, like she said, prop each other up, support each other, continue to have your morals in this time. Thank you so much, Perris. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Hey guys, I told you that was such an amazing episode, right? So many great tips, so many awesome resources. Perris Beal with Intuitive Tutors, all of her contact information will be in the show notes below. So be sure to check her out, follow her. If you have any questions, reach out to her. She is more than willing to help and serve. Now, for those of you guys who just love watching the show, I thank you so much for your support. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know whenever we release new videos. Now go out and make it a great day. Talk to you soon.
Taking a moment to kind of rest, reflect, refuel, retool, and relaunch. Whether this thing is a couple of weeks, couple months, couple years, there's going to be an opportunity on the other side of this